From Malin Head to Mallinbeg, from Buncrana to Burtonport, Donegal again plays host to its international rally. But this year the event assumes crucial importance. After a 2-month ban on the sport, rallying is back in Ireland, but it's very much on trial. Recent serious incidents have forced the authorities to question the whole future of this form of motorsport. If the Donegal Motor Club can't prove that rallying can be safe and exciting, then the consequences may be severe. Heading the entry list is last year's winner Billy Coleman, who pipped Austin McHale to the finish by just 1 second. It's Coleman's first outing in a Metro 6R4, and he's had no practice in it.
Being thrown in at the deep end of the pool this time, but at the same time I'm very excited to get the opportunity, and it's obviously a very exciting car, great faith in it, and
Totally different from anything you've driven before.
Absolutely.
What's the plan for this event?
Plan is that I'm going to take today fairly handy, find out all about it, and see where we're lying tonight, and
I'll see you later on.
Maybe attack tomorrow then.
Austin McHale, people are saying you're going to be the man to beat in this event. What's your own feeling?
We're very happy with the car. It's handling 100%. We had the suspension sorted out since the circuit, and it's going much better. Obviously, the opposition is very good. You know, I think the first 10 cars really got a good chance of winning.
Cyril Bolton, you're a regular visitor to Ireland, Irish rallying, and you've done quite well in Donegal in the past.
We third on Donegal last year, so it will be nice to try and repeat that, I think, with the new car. We need to get a finish with this car yet this season, so that's the main consideration at the moment.
The local man Vincent Bonner, a previous winner of the event, hoping to do it again?
Well, you know, you never know your luck on the Donegal Rally, you know. This year I would say it would be more open than the year that I won it.
The action gets underway on Friday afternoon at Trenta, with Coleman and Morgan getting to grips with the strange new Metro. Their early caution leaves the way clear for Austin McHale and Christy Farrell to grab an early lead in their Manta. They set a blistering pace for the rest to follow. And it's a lead they consolidate throughout the afternoon. As our in-car camera shows, it's all action in the Manta cockpit.
Absolute price 100. Easy right above fast and side left 100. Easy left, back bumps 250. Fast price 150.
Local hero Vincent Bonner loses his second place at the end of stage 2 when an unplanned manoeuvre leaves his Opel Ascona with some frontal damage. After 3 stages, the local knowledge of Letterkenny driver James Cullen has helped his Nissan 240 RS into 4th place. But another local man, James McDaid, is hot on his heels in another Manta. English visitor Phil Collins heads the 3-car challenge of the Ford Sierra Cosworths. He's followed by Kenny McKinstry from Banbridge, who finds the big car quite a handful. Billy Coleman is down in 7th and finding the 4-wheel drive Metro quite a change from his more usual Porsche. Although it's fast, it's also extremely noisy, and there are problems with the gearbox, as co-driver Ronan Morgan explains in the service area.
We've just completed 4 stages, and halfway through the 3rd stage, it felt like the clutch was slipping, and it got progressively worse during the 4th stage. So we've dropped a reasonable amount of time, and the boys just changing the step-off unit off the gearbox. That seems to be the problem. So we would hope we'd be able to get that done within our maximum time, and we hope that's the cause of the problem.
It's a very noisy car to drive, I believe.
Terribly noisy. We're having big problems. We didn't realise it would be as noisy as this. We made modifications to our intercoms and helmets, but Billy can't really hear me calling some of the notes, and it makes it all a bit dangerous.
Also at the same service halt, some quick repair work to Vincent Bonner's Opel Ascona. Co-driver Seamus McGettigan explains that early problem.
Well, we're coming up to the finish of stage 2, and I called 100 and fast right, and as we approached it, it seems to get a bit tighter, and we mounted the ditch on the left-hand side, and fortunately enough, we came off the ditch, and there's a pole, and we missed it, and went back up on the ditch again, and we kind of got jammed on between two walls, you know, but nothing serious done, you know.
But there are no such difficulties for leader McHale as he continues to widen the gap at the top. He's been the fastest driver over the first 5 stages and is about to make it 6 in a row. James Cullen is also untroubled in the left-hand drive Nissan and looks comfortable in 2nd place. Bonner and McGettigan show no ill effects from their earlier problems. And Coleman has pushed the Metro up to 4th, but on stage 6 he's still 20 seconds slower than McHale. Cyril Bolton in the 2nd of the Metros is having a steady drive in 5th place, although his version of the 6R4 is well down on par compared to the massive 400 brake horsepower of Coleman's works entry. The red Manta of Donegal Man John Connors is going well in 6th place. While Alstom and Kenny McKinstry's Sierra has moved up to 7th after the retirement of Phil Collins in a similar car. The Nissan of Pat Kirk from Strabane is 8th. John Kennedy and Stuart Carfin from Garva show that a Vauxhall Chevette can still hold on to a place in the top 10. But a 3-minute puncture delay has dropped the Manta of James McDaid and Rory Kennedy back to 10th. At the 2nd service halt, leader McHale is more than happy with his day's work.
The car itself is handling very well. We've all new suspensions in the front of the circuit. We've changed the geometry completely to suit the lightweight car, and it's unbelievable the way it's handling now. It's gone very well over the jumps and that.
Well, you're about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes down on the leader. That really wasn't anything that would have worried you.
I think we're even more than that now. I think it's nearly 3 minutes. But mind you, this time last year it was about the same gap and we made it up.
Saturday is traditionally the big day in Donegal, and the first obstacle is a notorious bridge on Carn Hill that has caught out many an expert in the past. All are healthy except Coleman, who must get that Metro to Milford for that all-important service and a clutch change, which is virtually the last hope for the Rothmans team. Cyril Bolton's Metro is in good shape, however. But first, a spectacular run through Glen, a quiet little village which nestles in the foothills of Loch Salt and eagerly awaits the excitement of the rally each year. For Austin McHale, 3 minutes advantage at this stage is not enough. James Cullen, however, is delighted to be back in home territory and broadsides the Nissan spectacularly. Billy Coleman doesn't look as if he's nursing the Metro. For James McDaid, Saturday will be a hard haul up the field after that Friday puncture. There are no speed limits in Glen today, so it's cheers from this happy little homestead and on to Milford, where the spirits in the Coleman camp are at a much lower ebb. Billy Coleman explains why.
It's oil leaking from the back of the engine onto the clutch, so about 25 minutes now to sort it out.
Well, you're changing your clutch now in the hope that that's it, but if it's the oil seal in the engine, there's nothing you can do about it. Is that correct?
Well, we're pouring various substances onto the clutch in the hope that you might find a bit more, but with 400 horsepower, it's not easy to keep sticking, you know.
And how bad is this clutch slip?
Yeah, it's quite bad in the higher gears, especially the 4th and 5th gears. It's very bad. Great shame because the car would have gone very well.
Austin McHale is sceptical of any information from the Rothmans team.
Well, I don't know whether he's in big trouble or, you know, we haven't heard he's in any trouble. I don't think there's anything wrong with the car. It's probably more that the stage don't really suit them. You know, we were under orders from the start to go flat out, and we've done that. And we definitely don't intend to make the same mistake this year as we made last year.
So there'll be no slackening off at this stage?
No, we're not slacking off. You know, we have slacked off very slightly this morning. But last year we slacked off to about 5/10 over at the start of the stage, and we made an awful blunder. But this year we don't intend to make that mistake.
Incredibly, John Lyons is in the top 10 in a Honda Civic.
Well, I did a good comprehensive recce, and no one can use the excuse that they don't know where they're going, but we all know where we're going. I spent 3 days in the stages, and I think it's all about commitment and driving, and that's why I'm here.
Is it a remark on the standard of driving in international rallies?
Well, I think that the standard of driving in Ireland is generally very poor. We've got about half a dozen drivers, and after that, but they're also rams.
These comments could certainly not apply to the leading men, as only 4 minutes separate the top 6. The big question hangs over Coleman in 4th place, but we will have to wait 2 stages to find if the Metro is cured. Team engineer, the things look a little bit less fraught this time. Have you got the Metro cured?
Yes, we're okay now. The clutch is okay, no problem.
A Metro should be capable of 2-3 seconds a mile on a Manta.
Yes, but what you've got to bear in mind is Billy is still learning the car. I mean, there's still, it has the power, but it is not the easiest of cars to adapt to in the first instance, and he got very little practice prior to the start of the event. So really, it's a big learning curve for him, actually, on the event.
Billy Coleman attacks that learning curve like a hill climb. The Metro is now Coleman's baby, and his astonishing progress is beginning to rattle Austin McHale. Let's go inside Austin's car with Christy Farrell reading the pace notes. As we go over Knockalla, one of the fastest stages in the event, in places we will be reaching over 120 miles an hour with a 200-foot drop down into Loch Swilly on our left. There is not much margin for error. Yet Christie coolly reads the notes as Austin struggles to control his 270 brake horsepower Manta. Cullen is aware of Coleman's progress, but not prepared to take him on. His present 2nd place will do nicely, thanks. Bonner has dropped from 3rd to 6th, with his 2nd puncture in the event. Back inside the Manta, we are heading for disaster. As we scream downhill towards the end of stage 15, a high-speed mistake is imminent. The lead of the Shell Donegal International Rally is about to end up on a Donegal bank. The steering and the rally lead has gone. We hobble to the end of the stage, but the Dealer Opel Team Ireland entry is no longer a threat. Donegal, however, is not all about superstars. Sammy Fisher keeps the Mini alive. Austin McHale has made roadside repairs, but to add to his troubles, he now has a puncture on stage 16. Louis McNairn performs a pirouette while we wait, but now we have to get past him and the other lower seats. Louis is well aware that the Manta is behind him, but it's not easy to find an overtaking place in a back road in Donegal. Take a deep breath, we're about to go through. John Gillese, Pat Kirk and John Lyons are 3 drivers destined for the top 10. McHale, having dealt with McNairn, now has a more stubborn Paul Muldrew to contend with. Internationals are new to Paul, and maybe he doesn't know the etiquette. tap up the back is a rude reminder that a novice should always give way to an expert. While Muldrew is getting the boot from McHale, the service crews relax in the Milford sunshine. 4 stages are completed before the next visit, and when the cars return, there is a new leader, James Cullen.
Quite excited. It's quite a new thing, you know, and it's nice to be up there for a change, isn't it?
Well, now, of course, the other news is that Billy Coleman is in a perfectly healthy Metro and absolutely charging back up the field, albeit maybe 4 or 5 minutes behind. Can you deal with that sort of pressure?
Depends on how sort of pace we set this evening. We're meaning to try and finish the event now, and like second will be a good result for us, even behind Coleman, but you never know.
It's close to midday in Milford. Cullen leads and Coleman is catching, and now 13 minutes late, the battered Black Manta arrives.
Austin, what's the situation? Are you still in the rally?
Yeah, we're still in the rally, but Knockalla, about 2 miles to the end of it. There's a slight left over of crest. It was all gravel. Still out on the road with loose gravel. So we slid off it up along a bank, and the front of the car went up along. We burst the radiator and burst the tyre. We dropped about 12, 15 minutes, I think. I don't know how much exactly. So we're still there anyways, you know, and we'll see if we can get out without losing whatever maximum length. We'll see what happens.
Was it a frightening moment?
Not really. It happened so quick because I could see the corner coming down into it, and I didn't expect loosening it. The right wheel was no loosening it, so I don't know how exactly getting there now.
It's desperation in Donegal for the tarmac champion. The ever-enthusiastic crew clamber all over the Manta in an effort to keep their hero in the rally, but only tarmac points can now be resurrected. Knockalla at its scenic best greets the new leaders, James Cullen and Roy Kernahan, but they can bask in their new glory for only a short time as Coleman has closed the gap. Bonner is up a place to 5th, but a rear puncture is about to put paid to that. Will Hare's corner on the old Knockalla hill climb has claimed yet another victim, and Vincent and Seamus McGettigan are lucky to escape without injury. Third place crew Cyril Bolton and Derek Irvine pass quietly, but 4th place man James McDaid is in a hurry. If you're a former winner of Donegal, there is no shortage of assistance, and amazingly, Bonner's Bent Ascona will rejoin the rally. Bonner's 3rd puncture has proved to be very expensive. They dropped to 10th. The last of the Sierra Cosworths, Kenny McKinstry in the Lindsay Cars version, pulls in to let Muldrew through. The problem is a second rear suspension failure. Rob Stoneman has retired earlier for the same reason. It would seem more development is required. Black Cats crossing roads, supposed to be good luck. It certainly looks like it for Coleman. Fortune is also shining kindly on James McDaid. With Bonner's accident and a navigational mistake in the Connors car, he moves up to 4th. For their last run over Knockalla, Coleman and Morgan can choose their own pace. Their electrifying charge has eased, and they now have a 1-minute advantage over Cullen, a nice way to end the hardest day of the rally. It's the evening rush hour at Knockalla, and as the inhabitants make their way home for tea, Brian Much gets caught up in the traffic. Saturday has been a scorcher in every sense of the word, and the best news of all is the outstanding behaviour of the spectators who have made it so safe. clock of the course, Matt Doherty explains.
But so far everything's 100%. The spectators are very, very well behaved. Actually, most of the competitors have said this is the safest rally they've ever been on, and that's from the top people, and even from Bertie and Austin, Bertie Fisher and Austin Fraser. We might get Bertie back again if we can keep it like this.
You never know.
I hope so.
The Marshals Flying Squad that are proving so successful. The Donegal Motor Club are setting safety standards that will be a model for other events. They are ably led by Bertie Fisher and Austin Fraser, the official safety officers for the event.
On the third and final day, Coleman's Metro holds a 40-second lead, and the clock farmer can afford the luxury of easing back a little to preserve the car. Former clerk of the course James Cullen led the rally briefly after McHale's accident, but has to settle for second place. History repeats itself for Cyril Bolton as he finishes third in spite of a rare mistake. Fourth is James McDaid, still hanging the tail out, getting caught at the same junction. Drive stage is John Connor's home ground. Setting the fastest time there helps his Manta to finish fifth. Belfast dentist John Gillies is at number 6 in the G3 Escort. Much battered Ascona Vincent Bonner is 7th and still thrilling the crowds. John Lyons does so well to finish 8th, it's hard to believe his 1600cc Honda is virtually standard. Pat Kirk from Strabane brings his Nissan home 9th. And John Kennedy's Chevette completes the top 10. For Austin McHale, it was unlucky 13th and a case of what might have been. But Donegal has one more surprise up its sleeve for the Manta crew, and it's one over which the marshals have no control.
You're right, 150. Back up to the left, 100. Absolute right, 200.
And the man in 4th place has also had his moments.
James McDaid, as always, with the cup of tea in the hand. How's it going today?
Not too bad. We're trying to just keep it steady and just hold off John Connors here. He's playing on the Atlantic Drive here, but then we took a 3 seconds off on the Glen Road, so we were happy enough. And then on a big jump on Marble Hill, Rory says flat over crest, and no way was it flat. We nearly broke the car in 2 halves, and we come to the next junction, we overshot then and unsettled us a bit, so we got settled down again, so I think we'll probably just about hold them off, hopefully.
Willie McVicker and Michael Reid from Belfast take Group A in the Sunbeam Talbot, while the Toyota Corolla of Seamus Carey and Crawford Henderson from Cushendall take the standard Group N honours. But the laurels and the champagne belong to Billy Coleman and Ronan Morgan, and of course the Metro 6R4. It's Billy's 4th win in Donegal, and perhaps the most remarkable of the lot.
First time I saw this car was the night before the rally, and well, I have a Land Rover down at the farm. It's a 4-wheel drive machine, but the technique is not quite the same, so I had a lot of learning to do on the first day. We had a slight problem on the first day as well, which slowed us down, but the mechanics, as usual, performed magnificently and sorted the problem, and we set about the task of getting back to time. And then, of course, Austin McHale had his accident and made it a lot easier for us. But from there on in, the car ran like an absolute dream, and full marks. It's made it very easy for me.
The creature comforts inside the car were very difficult. It was very noisy and very hot. So we had a lot of problems with Billy hearing the pace notes, but we eventually overcame those problems and made it a lot easier today and for the second half of yesterday. So all in all, we had a great one.
On a serious note, this was a return to rallying after a 2-month ban. It was important that the event was well run. What was your view?
It was very important that the event was well run, and we had many discussions about this between us over the weekend. We'd never seen spectators so well behaved before on any rally in this country, and all credit is due, I think, to Matt Doherty and his crew for doing a splendid job on the spectator control.
You've won the event, you've got a clear lead in the STP Tarmac Championship now. What are you going to do when you get used to the car?
I'm sure they'll give us a few more runs. I certainly hope they will. It's a magical car, and I'd say another event and I'd have the full hang of it.